Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Thursday Night Thunder Xfinity Series, coming to you live from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and I've got Steve Hoppett back in the comm box with me. So Steve, it's been a week of action here at the Road Atlanta or Atlanta Speedway, and we're here once again.
Oh, absolutely, Bernie. Good evening to you. Good evening, viewers. How is everybody? And I think this is going to be massive tonight. We've got the Xfinity cars running around. Monday night we had the trucks, and I was very happy to make that round. I ran in that myself. I discovered, Bernie, there's a great way to really drive like a madman. Don't have a cigarette for 24 hours and sit there with a really bad mood on, and you can drive like a crazy man.
That sounds like me in the morning, but I don't smoke. Normally it means 2 cups of coffee for me tonight, and I'll probably talk like a crazy man. But, the ANZCAR circuit, or circus you could say, has once again come to Atlanta Motor Raceway here. Monday night we did have the trucks, and we're about to go to the highlights package of that, folks, but also we had the K&N series here, I think, on a Tuesday night. Is that right?
No, actually, they were at USA Speedway this week. They followed the same tracks for the first 2 weeks and then moved on to USA Speedway in the K&N cars. So they didn't get the pleasure of running around this beautiful track.
You should have just said, yeah, they went there. No, so folks, we're going to go over and have a look at how the trucks went, because I know a lot of you folks enjoy the truck racing. We've got a highlights package of that race, and it's brought to you by Edward Foster. So enjoy the truck highlights.
Hello and welcome to the third round of the ANZCAR Monday Night Truck Series held at Atlanta. You can see here Bruce Smith now getting away to an early lead from pole position, a very well-earned pole position actually, running away as the field sorts itself out throughout lap 1, holding that lead from a few of the others chasing him down at that point. See as the field starts jostling for position and just generally sorting itself out and running into the rhythm of the race. We can see now a few of the other guys. It's Brett Hender there making his return to stock car racing after a fair while away, and Sam Katakzinis, another one who's only just joined ANZCAR after a little bit away from the oval cars, running side by side there with the Everett crew and Downtack. You can see there the number 22 just dipping below the line and unfortunately taking the 42 of Tim Dawes there. Also seeing Todd Maxfield involved. Nick Walsh there in the 22 just getting a bit below the line and taking a couple of bystanders with him. And unfortunately that brought out our first caution of the night very, very early on lap 7 out of 100. So as the trucks rather sorted themselves out, we saw our leader dive for the pits. That was Bruce Smith, followed by Katakzinis and Doutnak. Whereas some of the others stayed out, most notably there we have Steve Hoppett staying out in the APCS sponsored truck and Dan Vassell in their MFR entry, who's actually managed to jump away to a good lead from that restart. You can see the field now just sort of sorting itself out. Atlanta always a very good place for a lot of overtaking, a lot of too wide running. We can see this here. You can see Maxfield there running very closely there with the number 49. Bruce Smith there as ever running up near the front, just making his way past some of the slower traffic, and you can see just Matt Danson back there and Sam Katakzinis keeping watching brief back there. And in fact we're looking at Mirko Doutnak now, as he ran fairly well, fairly competitively throughout the early stages of this race, under pressure there from Matt Danson. And you can just see the number 22. Hello and welcome to the third round of the ANZCAR Monday Night Truck Series held at Atlanta. You can see here Bruce Smith now getting away to an early lead from pole position, a very well-earned pole position actually, running away as the field sorts. You can see the field now just sort of sorting itself out. Atlanta always a very good place for a lot of overtaking, a lot of too wide running. We can see this here. You can see Maxfield there running very closely there with the number 49. Bruce Smith there, as ever, running up near the front, just making his way past some of the slower traffic. And you can see just Matt Danson back there and Sam Katakazina's keeping the watching brief back there. And in fact, we're looking at Mirko Doutnak now, as he ran fairly well, fairly competitively throughout the early stages of this race, under pressure there from Matt Danson. And you can just see the number 22 of Nicholas Walsh there just recovering. But Smith ran well quite early. You can see him running alongside there with Matt Danson, who was very, very quick here. He was quick here for the entire race, and these two ran really very closely together for most of it. You can see Lachlan Smith there just getting a little bit wayward, but gathering it up quite nicely and being able to run side by side with Danson there down the back straight into turn 3. Katakazinas and Doutnak there side by side once again. They spent a lot of time in close company during the course of the race, and lost engine there unfortunately for the 8 truck of Shane Witt. Danson now just making his way past Doutnak, and you can see here Katakazinas just running alongside Danson there, as well as Matt continues to make his way up the field. See a few cars coming in now for the green flag pit stop. You can see Doutnak, he's just actually messed up that pit entry there. That's going to cost him a fair amount of time. You saw Sam Katakazinas get in there quite nicely, but unfortunately Doutnak just braked a little bit late there and managed to overrun his pit a little bit. We'll have to come in again. You can see Steve Hopper doing exactly the same thing. I can tell you it looks silly, but it's incredibly easy to do. The speed these trucks carry is so deceptive coming into that pit lane. You often have to brake before you can actually see it. If you wait till you can see it, you've obviously waited too long, and that's what happened there. Looks easy, certainly is not easy pitting under green in one of these trucks. You can see Steve Hopper there recovering, coming past Nicholas Shiles, who's become a regular competitor here in the Monday Night Truck Series. And Hopper just touching the wall there as well and just running down it. Very lucky not to get collected there actually. As you can see on board here with James Robbie. Oh, and a big spin there from Nicholas Shiles. He gets up into the top wall in the tri-oval there, and it looks as though he's about to bring out the caution, but it doesn't look like the caution's actually come out. Maybe he was far enough off the racing surface that hasn't actually caused a caution. And we can see here Bruce Smith continuing to run as he had done from pole position, but the win goes to Matt Danson. It's been something he's been threatening to do absolutely all series long, and it's only taken him until round 3 to actually do it, so a superb job from him. Mike Brown and Sam Katakazinas are rounding out the podium, and Matt Danson, as mentioned, bringing home the victory, and well deserved it was too. So that is the end of another round of the ANZCAR Truck Series. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Yes, so that's a highlights package there, folks, and what a fantastic race that was. And, of course, that series, it's sponsored by APCS, so it's great to have them backing that great series, Steve.
Yeah, Bernie, APCS throwing a fair bit of support behind some of the ANZCAR races, especially tonight, the Xfinity series, sponsored by Advanced PC and Simulations. As we check out some of the action on track and the practice. It's a bit of a mess out there, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly is, but let's have a quick update of the point score from last Monday night's tracks. trucks. So a bit of movement going on here. Matt Danson moved up one position, so he's leading that series on 134 points. Big mover, though, was Mirko Dortnack. He's jumped 4 positions to sit in second on 113 points. Then third, we have Todd Maxfield. He's pretty much sitting in third on 112. Tim Dawes, he's in fourth on 103 points. And then Dwayne Priest, also equal to him, he jumped 4 positions to be fifth on 103 points. Jonathan Moas, he's in 6th position now, 97 points, and then Nicholas Walsh dropped 1 position, and he's sitting there in 7th on 96 points. Then we've got Scott Butler, one of the big losers out of there. He dropped 7 positions last Monday night, so he's down to 8th on 90 points. 9th is Mike Brown, and he jumped up 1 position, and Bruce Smith up 5 positions in 10th to make it into the top 10. So that's a pretty good set of points haul there for Bruce Smith, and he's in the top 10, mate.
Oh, yeah, mate. Look, Bruce is a great driver. It's very strange to see that he's actually just managed to pull into the top 10 there because his presence in all 3 of the races so far in that series, I mean, there's no doubt that he's been pushing. He's led most of some of these races. He pole position on Monday night and led quite a big chunk of it and ran in the top 3 for a whole chunk more. So it's very surprising to see that he's only sitting 10th in the series when he's been so prominent on track. So yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah, and the other one was to see Sam Catacasinos out there having a run. We normally see him in the Skip Barbers and a few other series, but it's the first time I'm seeing him out there in the trucks, and he did pretty well for his debut race.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he got on the podium, and it's his first race back, at least in the trucks anyway. Been away from NASCAR stuff for a little while, I believe. But yeah, on the podium, first race back. So I would expect to see Sam make a big impact on the remainder of the series, Bernie. Yeah,
definitely. And as you can see, folks, the practice is still going on out here. We're going to go to qualifying very, very shortly here at Atlanta Speedway, but let's go through the point score as they stand coming into this round. So Stephen Clark, he's taken the lead on 82 points. He's jumped 3 positions last week. Jake Whitehall sitting there in second on 76 points. He jumped 5 positions. Third was Matthew Cloud, and Matthew is equal on 76 points in third, up 3 positions as well. Dave Douglas jumps up 1 position to 4th on 73 points. Then we've got Jason Martin. He's jumped a huge 18 positions. I can't believe that. Up to 70 points there and in 5th position. Riley Curtis is sitting in 6th, equal 6th really, with Darren McKenzie and Josh Micklemore. All 3 of those drivers are on 68 points. 9th is Darren J. O'Brien on 65, and Roger Clark. He replaced his father for the top 10, and he's now sitting in 10th on 64 points. So some big movers and shakers there tonight, Steve.
Oh yeah, it's one of those series where we've got so many guys who can lead the series, so many guys who can win races, so many guys who can get on the podium. It's very difficult to see that there's one guy or 2 guys who are going to dominate. You're going to see that chop and change and move around a bit from round to round as people have more luck and a better adaptability to each individual track.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
more luck and a better adaptability to each individual track.
Yeah, staying out of the trouble. Yeah, that's exactly right. And,
well, that's it. I mean, we've seen plenty of trouble in the practice. You're talking about Sandman there. He's actually just, he's managed to hold that one off the wall. He blew an engine earlier on in practice. And while we were listening to Edward with the commentary over the top of the truck highlights, he's had a bit of a tough time out there. I've seen him into the wall more than a couple of times, as Sandman does the same. But yeah, just about everybody out there at the moment has gone into the wall. They're pushing hard. And I mean, there's a lot of talk about how slippery it is at this track, where in actual fact, I found it's very, very good, and there's quite a lot of grip until the tyres are about 15 or 20 laps old, and then it's just a case of hang on and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the track information out there and just see exactly what it's like. So it's overcast out there, but pretty hot, 31 degrees Celsius or 87 degrees Fahrenheit for our US viewers out there. So it is a pretty hot day out there, so I'm surprised the track's so slippery.
Yeah, it's more to do with tyre wear rather than the slippery track. I think these guys are pushing pretty hard, and it's a track that will really wear the tyres if you push too hard. It's just the wear level. It'll come in for some guys earlier than others. I think the most I got out of a good set the other night in the truck was probably 20 to 25 laps, and by then you had to start to lift your foot a little in some of the corners. Turn 4 is an absolute headache, especially if you've got old rubber on. And we're just seeing a bit more of a mess there. It looks like, is that one of the Riley Curtis cars? So, yeah, there's a few cars gone off there. Roger Clark's having a bit of a hard time out there as well.
Yeah, that was Edward Foster there having a bit of a spin, and we've seen quite a bit of that. But just see how he got cleaned up here. He was actually down on the apron, would you believe, and he got caught up in that. There was actually Roger Clark in the MFR entry that came to grief. But it's going to be interesting here. They're not going to want to do that during the race, of course. 100 laps around here tonight, folks. There is no fast repair, and incident limits unlimited, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter. One fast repair, without a fast repair, one incident and you're pretty much done. It looks like we're coming into qualifying now, Steve, so all the drivers will get 3 laps, 10 minutes to set their times, and we'll see how they go. At the moment, we've got Joshua Carroll Walden. He's one of the first out here, and he's seated in 20th position at the moment.
Yes, you've got an out lap and 2 timed laps. As I see Craig Lawless heading out as well. All the guys, well, they seem to be piling out at the moment. So it's going to be very interesting. The guys were running 30s, so 37.7, 30.9, stuff like that, 30.8 in practice. It'll be very interesting to see what they could do out on a track on their own in qualifying, and as they race basically for a spot on that starting grid.
Yeah, we've got Stephen Sandman Clark. He's one of the first out there to have a run in the 96, and he's on his first flying lap here. What we've normally found, Steve, is it might be different tonight, but generally their fastest lap is that first one. Do you think we're going to see that tonight, considering the overcast conditions?
It'll come down to line, actually. The line the guys are taking through, most especially turns 3 and 4. They're a little bit harder on wear and harder to hold a line than 1 and 2, but the Sandman come to grief.
Yeah, he went up into the wall again, and that's going to cost him big time, isn't it?
That just nullified his lap, Bernie, so...
Yeah, we can see Phil Otto out there at the moment. He's seated in 7th, and he's on a flying lap here. And in the 66 in the trademark pink and green livery. So he loves his colour schemes, but he's coming across the tri-oval now. What sort of a time is he going to set here? 31.6, 31.490, only good for 7th. And at the moment, if we have a look at how it's going, Joshua Carroll Walden, he's on provisional pole at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to change. That must have been Phil's second lap, because he's pulling it into the pits. So, 31.4's just bumped him back to 8th as Darren Lloyd slipped in with a 31.3. But, yeah, Joshua Carroll Walden on a 30.8. That's a pretty good time. Stephen Clark pulled a 30.9. Must have been his second lap where he actually put it into the wall. So that was fortunate, because it still got him towards the pointy end. So still a couple of guys to run and get their laps. Matthew Clowett has pulled a 30.693. A great time here.
Yeah, that's an awesome time. Puts him on provisional pole. You can see Danny G coming through. He did a time of 30.754. Brings him up to second, and that's his first flying lap. You can see Matt Clowett there. He's pretty much done his run. I think Danny, though, he's on his second flying lap to see if he can improve. Most of the guys here have done 2 laps, some only 1, but Danny's trying to see what he can put together here.
Yeah, they are trying hard. I noticed in practice the guys were pushing in these cars, although they've got a lot more space, a lot more power, and a lot more pace in them than the trucks have. But it just seemed like these guys were pushing a bit harder than what some of the truck guys were on Monday night. Maybe the trucks were a little bit more difficult to control, but the way these guys are driving these Xfinity cars, wow, crazy stuff. They've really been pushing. And into the wall in qualifying with a couple of them we don't normally see from some of these blokes.
Yeah, well, Jason Martin, he just put his stake on provisional pole, 30.673, 2 thousandths of a second or 200ths of a second faster than Matt Clowett. As we see now, Roger Clark coming across, he did a 31.270. That puts him in 10th position. We've also got Jake Blackhall out here having his first run in the number 97, and we'll see what he can do. Generally, Jake starts pretty deep in the field, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It depends. It's one of those times where you've got to wait to see which Jake Blackhall shows up for which round. Sometimes you'll get where he'll qualify right at the pointy end, and other times he's happy to put in a lap, get it done, and just start where he starts and make it up in the race. So it just seems to be the way it goes, depending on what track he's at, Bernie.
Yeah, well, his first lap was good enough for 6th position. He's on his second while he's bailed, so that's as good as it's going to get for Mr. Blackhall, 6th position so far. Just having a look, Roger Clark, he's been pushed down to 11th position, and I'm pretty sure he has completed his run as he pulls that car into the pits. Got Dave Douglas out here having a run. He's sitting in 4th on his 15th on his first lap here, and we'll see what the number 10 can do around here.
Yeah, I've just actually got my eyes on Daniel Stevens at the moment, who's putting in his first timed lap as well. We've also got Jake Maloney yet to run. Daniel Stevens, a 30.9, it puts him up to 6th, pushes Stephen Clark back another spot.
Yeah, and Dave Douglas, he just pipped Daniel Stevens there for 5th position with a 30.833. So the times, if you have a look at how close they are, they're unbelievably close, aren't they? The top 10 are all within, half a second of each other.
Yeah, actually looking at it, it's about 4/10, yeah, so under half a second, going back as far as 8th, yeah.
So unbelievably close. We can see Darren McKenzie out here at the moment. He's finished his run in the 08, and he managed 10th position. Just having a look out here, Dave Douglas has finished his run, so has Riley Curtis. I think Riley's on his second flying lap now. He's in 6th position, and he set a time of 30.889 as he clips the wall. That's not going to help him, and he goes across the tri-oval for the second time, 31.089. So 6th position for Riley Curtis.
Yeah, it's certainly sorting themselves out now. Yeah, I'm surprised actually, because some of the guys sitting on 31s, I wouldn't have expected to see that far off the pace. Normally we're talking hundreds, not tenths. So it's going to be an interesting race, but I think qualifying won't show us what the race will really be like. They will be a lot closer. They'll race close, side on the side, behind, in front. And with the draft, we're going to get some very close, very fast racing tonight. The guys seem fired up on this track, and they know it's a fast track. They know they're going to have to make up places early on the tyres, because once those tyres get to about 20 to 25 laps, they're going to have to start being a bit more careful with them. So I think we're going to see some very fast, very high energy racing early on after each pit stop, and off the pace car at the beginning, Bernie.
So We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that, aren't we? But we just saw Josh Mickelmore out there, set 4th fastest time with a 30.824. We've got Thomas Hinz out at the moment. Let's see what he does as he's coming across the tri-oval for the first time in that beautiful Fanatics livery. And he did a 31.141. That's only as good as 15th position, and he's into the wall. So 15th for Thomas.
Yeah, saw him get the wobbles up just before he came into the turn there. And I thought, he's caught that. But then all of a sudden, just a lot of speed, and the car was just all out of sorts. And that was just the basic end result, Bernie.
Yeah, and Thomas has had a pretty tough run, hasn't he, in the last couple of weeks, and he was pretty dejected with one of his performances, and so let's hope he has a good run out there. 15th, long way to go though, 100 laps, and plenty of time to try to get up to the front end. The only other drivers we haven't seen out here tonight is Jake Maloney in the 29 and Shannon Mason in the number 55. So be interesting to see if they actually come out and qualify or if they take to the grid.
Yeah, I've not seen either of them run a lap, and now they're basically out of time. They're not already on track, so it looks like the two of them are going to actually start from the back. Jake actually didn't even get in to run a practice lap, so let's hope he's gotten plenty of practice in before today rolled around. But yeah, Jake knows his stuff, but it's like Thomas. I mean, everybody in this field knows their stuff. Thomas knows what to do. He'll put a good make a good race of it. The only thing that will really sort of spoil any plans for him is any incidents that he gets involved with. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out for Thomas. But he knows what to do. They all do. They all race well together. So it's just going to be a case of wait and see. But we've only got a few seconds, Bernie, until we line up on the grid behind the pace car.
Yeah, and folks, if you like what you see with this camera, we're actually using the camera pack courtesy of Track Cams for Gourmets. And you can actually buy these packs at trackcams22.com. And I tell you what, they bring this racing to life. So big thanks to Track Cams for Gourmets for their ongoing support.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. It's great to see these firms and organisations involved with sim racing and improving things like the coverage that the viewers get to watch, the racers who are not in this race, who want to keep tabs on how things are going and just simply enjoy watching some great racing as we get underway. It's very shortly in the ANZCAR Xfinity series, but a very quick good day to a few people who are in the live chat. Terry Marwood, Jacob, Aaron O'Brien. Yeah, good day, guys. How you doing? I think I saw Sam in there earlier on commenting. So, yeah, good day, guys. Great to have you with us. Everybody who's in the live chat, good day to you. You want to say good day? Post something up. Let us know that you're out there.
Yeah, fantastic. But let's go through this grid and having a look at the way they're going to line up here. We've got Jason Martin on pole position, 30.673 he posted, just pushing out Matt Clowett. He will start in the first row on the outside. Second row on the inside is Danny G, and then he's got Josh Mickelmore in fourth on the outside of him. Looking in the third row tonight on the inside is Joshua Carroll Walden, and Dave Douglas in the number 10 will start outside of him. Going down to seventh tonight on the inside is Riley Curtis. He's joined on the grid by Daniel Stevens. Then we've got Stephen Sandman Clark starting out of ninth. Out of 10th tonight is Stephen Williams. 11th, Jake Blackhall. Darren McKenzie, he's going to start out of 12th. Out of 13th is Craig Lawless on the inside, and he's got Kai Sloggett starting next to him on the outside. Then we've got Thomas Hinz down here in 15th, and Edward Foster joining him on the grid in 16th. Norman Clark, will start out of 17th with his son on the outside of him in 18th. So a bit of a family affair there. Darren Lord will start in 19th with Phil Otto next to him in 20th. And we didn't see Jake Maloney take to the grid, or I don't think we saw Shannon Mason either.
I don't think they're actually out there, no. Not quite sure. I know Shannon had a lot of trouble in practice, so he perhaps has some troubles with the car. Actually, no, there he is, right up the back, number 55, Shannon Mason. But not seeing the number 29 car of Jake Maloney at this point. I'll have to have another look as they come by the commentary box, Bernie.
Yeah, there he is. He's right up the back in the number 29. It's just starting to form up now.
Okay, well, I'm going to make my prediction. You're going to ask me at some point. Movers and shakers tonight. Sandman from 9th on the grid and Jake Maloney from dead last to finish somewhere in the top 5.
Okay. Not a problem. Well, here we go racing anyway, folks. So Jason Martin leads the pack for the first time here of 100 laps. Round 3 of the Xfinity Series. He's had a very good start at the moment, a clean start. Matt Clough, he tucks in behind him. But check out Josh Micklemore all over the back of Danny G here, and Josh Carroll-Walden. They go 3 wide up the back into turn 3, sort themselves out. Now they're starting to settle into a bit of a 2-wide action here.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. As I said, we are going to see some great racing here in the early parts because the guys know they need to do what they've got to do on those tyres in the first 15 to 20 laps, because after that they start to struggle and they have to be more careful if they want to get to the end of this race. But obviously Jason Martin still leading from Matt Clough in second place, and then Josh Micklemore is a little bit of a gap back to Josh Micklemore, but he's got Danny G all over the back of him, Bernie.
Yeah, Danny G's having a great race, isn't he? He's really putting the blowtorch on Micklemore at the moment. Well, he's in front of him actually, but the car's 3 wide at the moment. Danny G, Stephen Sandman Clark on the inside of him. Joshua Carroll-Walden also just got his nose cut off there by Sandman. But I tell you what, these 3 are absolutely having a great time, and they're all very racy.
Oh, look, out of 9th on the grid, and we've got Stephen Sandman Clark up to 6th place already and challenging for 5th. This is going to be fantastic stuff. Car number 35 is Joshua Carroll-Walden, and he's down on the inside of, who was that, Danny G. So, we could see some positions changing here very shortly, and we've got an accident in the background. Edward Foster involved in that one, Bernie.
Okay, we'll jump back and have a look at that. We're actually driving with Joshua Carroll there, so Mr. Edward Foster in the number 53. Well, that car's looking, as quoted by Hoppet one time, looking a bit like a brick. But let's go back and have a look at exactly what went wrong with him here.
Well, Edward, I believe, was actually an innocent bystander. He was collateral damage in that. The accident, I think, happened right in front of him, and he just had nowhere to go.
So we've got Hins in front of him, the 444 as well, and the 9. Well, the 9 got into the 444 and put him into the wall. And as you said, Edward Foster absolutely nowhere to go. He hammered the number 9 big time and escorted him into the inside wall. So tell you what, hard lick there for Edward Foster. No fast repairs. His team's going to be struggling from here on out, I think, Steve.
Yeah, if there's way too much damage to that car, he may struggle to carry on with that. There's somebody missing from this field who hasn't raced for a little while. I'd really like to give him a shout out, Bernie. I know we're watching the action here, but we've got James Foster in the live chat. G'day, James. James has not been well. I hope he's feeling all right tonight, and I hope he enjoys the stream, Bernie.
Yeah, it's fantastic having you watch this, James. Hopefully we're going to see you out on the track when you're feeling better, because you are definitely missed in the ANZCAR community, that's for sure. But it's great to have him there watching it, and I'm hoping he's enjoying our coverage.
Absolutely, and I like his username too. Coulthard 2006, that's nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known who that was. I would have asked for an autograph.
Yeah, I would have said, hey, good day, Fabian, but yeah, there you go. All right, so behind the pace car, we've got Jason Martin sitting in first place behind the pace car there, with Matt Clough, who'll line up alongside him shortly. Then Josh Micklemore, Stephen Clark up to 4th from 9th in only 4 or 5 laps. Danny G and then Joshua Carroll-Walden still maintaining that sort of middle of the top 10 position. Jake Blackhall, then Dave Douglas, Riley Curtis, Darren McKenzie, Stephen Williams, Thomas Hins in top 12, with Shannon Mason up from the back of the pack up to 13th. Daniel Stevens at 14th. Roger Clark has jumped in front of Norman. but they'll probably still line up side by side or together there around about the same spot. Norman Clark in 16th. Edward Foster is listed as 17th. And then we've got Phil Otto. The positions have just changed a little bit as they jostle around there and sort themselves out coming around. And the lights on the pace car are out, Bernie, so we're going to go green shortly.
Yeah, we certainly are. And what do you make of this, Steve? From 14 back, all those guys pitted, but the front runners, they've stayed out. Does that mean they're expecting another yellow fairly shortly?
Yes, same thing happened on Monday night in the trucks, but it didn't come about. We actually had an incident on lap 7. We went green on lap 10, and we went 90 laps green. If that happens here, we are going to see quite a few pit stops under green, Bernie.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. 7 laps we got in, pretty much the same as the trucks. I think they got a similar distance before accident number 1 occurred here. But the pace car will be in. Jason Martin, he's going to lead the field away. He's got Matthew Clowett on the outside of him. Josh Micklemore on the inside row 2 with Sandman on the outside. Here we go, folks. Hold on to your hats. Matt Clowett, he's got caught napping a little bit. That's going to allow Sandman to try and get cheeky here and go 3 wide. He's not quite sure. He's tucked in now behind Micklemore here.
Yeah, it looked like Sandman was going to try and split Matthew Clowett and Josh Micklemore, but they got the slower start, but managed to, pardon me, pick up the pace. And Sandman just settled into 3rd position. He's just car length in front of Matt Clowett now, and he's right in front of him now. So, yep, 3rd position from 9th in 9 laps. Not bad, Sandman.
Yeah, awesome driving there. But I tell you what, he had Clowett right on his rear fender, and he was lucky there wasn't contact. But now Clowett's on the inside of him. He's decided he's going to take that position back if he can. So we've got Sandman on the outside, Clowett on the inside, Carol Walden right behind them. Then we've got Jake Blackhall and Danny G duking it out behind these guys. So it's an awesome start here. But look at Clowett and Sandman still going side by side.
Oh, going at it absolutely hammer and tong here, swapping positions back and forward, fighting over 3rd place. It's fantastic stuff, but these tyres are they've still got at least 10 or 15 decent laps in them, and I think this is what we're going to see. That's why the front half of the pack did not pit, Bernie.
Yeah, so how long are these tyres going to go, though, before they're going to have to pit? As we're riding with Josh Carroll Walden there, Jake Blackhall, he just drove around the outside of him and says, thank you very much, I'm going to take that away. And if anything, Josh is sort of caught up behind Micklemore here.
Oh, yeah, look, Josh Carroll Walden was the big loser in that 3-way battle, or 5-way battle, actually, with Jake Blackhall and Josh Micklemore getting past him. And all Josh can do now, Joshua Carroll Walden can do now, is just stay on the back of those two and wait for an opportunity to try and get the position back, as we've got the front 3 just beginning to break away a little bit from 4th through to about 7th. So the real battle is in that little pack of about 5 cars, as the front 3 just get into a line and continue on to push. They've got nothing to worry about at the moment. The guys from 4th position back, there's too much of a gap there, and they've got to worry about each other at this point. But we've got a long way to go, Bernie. We've still got something like 88 laps left.
Yeah, a huge way to go yet, but the number 8, Darren McKenzie, he's up into 7th position now, just behind Micklemore. Carol Walden, well, he's got past Josh there, and he's moved up to 5th position. So the 8's looking racy, but we've seen his race turn sour, and when he got involved in a couple of big wrecks, no fault of his own, just that's NASCAR racing, and you can go from hero to zero very, very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Look, the guys who got any damage whatsoever out of that lap 7 incident, strangely enough, the same lap from Monday night. I don't know what the go is with that. But, yeah, the guys who got any damage out of that, they will struggle unless there is another incident that involves some of these front runners or mid-pack guys. I've got a feeling the guys at the back will struggle for pace, depending on how much damage there is and how it will affect their aero. But they won't give up. They're there. They're plugging away at it. I can see the familiar paint jobs there, and they are still going hammer and tong, these two up the front. The Sandman, Stephen Clark in car 96, and Matt Clowett in number 54. And now we've got Jake Blackhall in 97. He's actually bought into this argument. He wants some of that. He wants to get through as well. And they're all chasing Jason Martin.
Yeah, Jake Blackhall's got an awesome car under him, as does Sandman. But one car that is struggling out there at the moment, folks, is Joshua Micklemore. He's dropping back. He's down to 8th position now in the number 2. See if the race comes back to him. But at the moment, he doesn't quite have a car he's happy with. But up front, it's all Jason Martin. And then we've got Stephen Sandman Clark Clowett on the inside of him. These guys have been duking it out now for the last 9 laps. But keep an eye on Blackhall. He's my pick for this race tonight because he's got a rocket under his, I was going to say shorts, but we can't say that on air, can we?
You can say shorts. You just can't say the other word.
Oh, Sandman's in the wall. Yeah. No, that's right. But we've seen Sandman a few times in practice, haven't we? He glanced that wall and he's just done it again, coming off turn 4 there.
Bit of damage on that right front from glancing the wall, but it's going to be interesting to see how that affects him. But now he's already dropped back because of the loss of speed glancing that wall, and he's now back in the fight with Joshua Carroll Walden, and they're fighting over, 4th and 5th?
Yeah, they are. So with that slight damage, how do you think that's going to affect his top end speed? Is he going to really worry about it, or?
At a track like this, it may be minimal as far as the effect on his aero is concerned. But of course, he's going to struggle to match the outright pace with the guys up front who have clean, straight cars as well, Bernie.
And in the background, I heard a bit of a clash there, but the cars are continuing on. And at the moment, Micklemore, well, he's coming back here now. He's battling it out with Danny G. And Micklemore's on the outside of Jake Maloney. Well, this is one of your picks, wasn't it? Maloney, he's up to 9th now. Started dead last. 19 laps later, he's in the top 10.
Mate, he started absolutely dead motherless last, and I tipped him to finish in the top 5. So, barring unforeseen incidents, he's looking like he's going to prove me right, because Jake Maloney is on an absolute flyer. In 20 laps, he's gotten himself up inside the top 10. Can you believe it?
Fantastic drive indeed, and I'll tell you what, Darren McKenzie, he just did glance that wall coming out of number 4 as well. And I'm just trying to see if he's got any damage to that 08. I think it doesn't look too bad at the moment. He's on the high line, but now Micklemore, he's tucked up behind Danny G, and he's starting his march forward again.
Yeah, no, it's looking fantastic out there. We are getting the racing I expected, but now we've hit lap 20. I think that couple of laps behind the pace car would extend the tyre life just that extra couple of laps. So if we continue to go green, I think in the next 5 or 6 laps, the guys will start to have to look after those tyres pretty severely. It's at the point now whereas going 15 tenths on these tyres is not a great idea. We've already actually seen Stephen Clark, and car 8 is, of course, Darren McKenzie. We've seen them both glance it off the wall, and it's obviously going to happen. Turns 3 and 4, Bernie, from this point on until they pit, keep an eye on them. Stephen Sandman Clark quite loose there, managed to catch it though, but it's given the advantage to Danny G, who's got the lower line, the inside line, and I got a feeling he'll take the position, and he's taking Josh Micklemore and Jake Maloney coming through on the inside of Joshua Carroll Walden.
Yeah, these guys are having an awesome battle, not an awful battle. It's fantastic at the moment as they go too wide, and Sandman up the top, Joshua Carroll Walden just tucking in behind him, but further back, and having a look, that's Thomas Hines. He's just getting on the back of this crew, so he's come up from 15th into the top 10, and we've got a car in the background. I think that was Otto into the wall. It was Phil Otto. It's not going to bring out a safety car though.
We found that on Monday night too. There were some incidents on Monday night in the trucks that did not bring out a safety car, a pace car, and you've got me saying it now, and it just didn't happen. So that's why we went 90 laps under green on Monday night. We may see the same thing here because we've just seen what was a terrible accident for Phil Otto, and there's no caution, Bernie.
No, it's continuing on. We're just having a look at that. He pretty much did it to himself there. Got it a bit loose and spun it around. But I tell you what, apart from all that crumpled paper paintwork, those silver mags look striking on that pink and green livery.
Oh, it's a striking looking car. You definitely see it coming in a thick fog, Bernie.
Certainly would. And I tell you what, one car you'd see coming in a thick fog is a number 21. Well, you may not see him coming because he is dominating at the moment. That gap is 2.6 seconds. Doesn't mean much though as we hit the quarter mark here, but he's looking really good, isn't he?
Well, I'm actually thinking more about Phil Otto at the moment. He's pitting it now. I'm really hoping that competitively it's a major blow to his night, but I'm actually hoping that Phil gets some repairs done. Although looking at the damage to that car, he could be in there quite a while, so we may even see Phil retire before too long. I'd hate to see that, but there's a lot of damage to that car, and if he's got to stay in there for a long time, that's going to make things even harder for him. So there's nothing worse than running around on your own when you're 5 to 10 laps down because of damage, Bernie.
Yeah, Joshua Carrawalden, it wasn't him. Who's that behind him? Darren McKenzie took a visit through the grass as they came through the tri-oval that time.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to see what it was that happened there, Bernie. My apologies. Trying to keep up with what's going on all over the field at the moment.
Yeah, just having a look at the replay. He had Sandman on the outside of him as they came into turn 4 here, and Josh Carrawalden on the outside. And he's just had some of the air taken off him, I think, possibly from Sandman, and he's gathered it up, but he's decided to go and mow the grass. Yeah,
as I said, what are we on now? Lap 28. So, yeah, we're seeing the effect of those tyres. It's probably 5 to 8 laps beyond their really useful period and their lifespan. They'll still work, but of course, it's a case of you've got to lift more. You can't hold the same speed, the same line through the corners, especially through 3 and 4 and out onto the front straight. It's going to get harder and harder. Fresh rubber on that car of Darren McKenzie now. He rejoins in 18th, and under green, it's going to hurt, but I expect to actually see the front half of the field pit under green very shortly. Their tyres won't be any better than what his were.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'd say his pit crew saw him cruise down across the grass, and they've said that's enough, bring it in now. And that's exactly what they've done. But you're dead right here, Steve. The guys are going to have to pit very shortly, I think. They're on lap 30. And as we see, the 97, that's Jake Blackhall getting loose now, right behind Micklemore. So you can see he's struggling for tyre wear as well.
Yeah, the front guys have gone very hammer and tong at it. They've pushed hard. I don't know what's going on with Jason Martin. He's absolutely just blitzing away again. He just really seems to have the number on this track. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, they pushed hard and they'll be feeling it in the tyres, the way the wheel feels. As they come through the corner, they'll know they can't hold the same speed. The tyres are 31 laps old. If you take out the couple of laps behind the pace car, we're still looking at 29 laps of hard racing on those tyres. It's going to start to show on everybody very shortly.
Certainly is, and Josh Carrawalden, his car's looking loose. So is Clowett's car. Clowett's down in 6th position now, and Blackhall, he's in 4th, but his tyres are pretty much shot as well. Further back though, we've got Dave Douglas just outside the top 10 here. He's having a bit of a battle with the 98, and that's Stephen Williams.
Yeah, there's still battles going on. I got a feeling if you actually took a look at the lap times, for a moment At the moment, I'm actually looking at Josh Micklemore. His last lap was a 32.9. Actually, that was the one before. Now it's a 33.1. There is a definite difference there. Nearly 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds. A lot slower. He's got nobody in front of him. He's got all the space in the world. But the tyres are getting old. They don't have the speed or the grip in them anymore. We'll see these front guys come in the next lap or two, I would imagine.
Yeah, and one car making his way forward is a 09 of Roger Clark. He started out there about midfield, I think, all those times ago, but he's up to 7th position now. He's just got past Sandman and he's moving forward.
Yeah, he's been a big mover. Started, I think it was either 17th or 18th alongside his father Norman Clark. And up to 7th, and he's making his presence known out there. But there's Joshua Carroll Walden still going at it with Stephen Clark. They're actually racing for 8th and 9th position now. What a difference from 10 laps or so ago where they were battling it out for 3rd.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at Roger Clark there in the office, and he doesn't look like he's even worked up a sweat yet.
Nah, he's a pretty cool customer, Roger. You've got to have a care factor to work up a sweat, and I don't think Roger's got one.
Yeah, you're probably right. He's got past Joshua Carroll Walden now, sitting in 7th, pulling away now. We'll see if he can start making inroads on Cloat just ahead of him. Having a look at the cars in trouble out there. Well, Kai Sloggett, he's in the pits and he's not going anywhere by the looks of it. I don't know what happened to him. But he's down. He's been in there for a very, very long time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, those fresh tyres are really working for Darren McKenzie. He's passed Stephen Sandman Clark, Joshua Carroll Walden, and now Roger Clark. He's gotten past all of them because they're on older tyres. They are going to need to pit. I think they're really praying for a caution and behind the pace car so they can do what they've got to do. But to be honest, all they are doing is dropping back. Anybody with brand new rubber is just going to blitz this field. So the guys really need to start looking at a green flag pit stop. They can't wait for a caution flag. It doesn't look like there's going to be one.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Darren McKenzie, he's dropped a lap because of his pit stop. But the way he's going, when these guys do stop, it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out in all the mix here. Because as you said, he's driving left, he's driving right. He's just cleaning these guys up like they're in a billy cart derby.
Well, that's the thing. He's got to make the most of it now. I mean, with any luck, he'll get the lucky dog. I'm not quite sure how the positions are working at the moment. But with those tyres, he can make a big move, which is what he's doing. He's heading off after Josh Micklemore and these guys because he's got the fresh rubber on. But at the same time, he's, a lap down or something. He's 1 lap down in 18th. What will happen is if they pit, I expect that he may get that lap back, but then they'll come out on fresh rubber and his will actually be about 8 or 10 laps old. So that's when you'll see the balance of things switch back the other way.
Yeah, and if there is a safety car, pace car, folks, now you've got me saying it, Steve, he will get that lucky dog and he will then get back onto that lead lap, and no doubt at that point we could see him bring that car in for service to get him back onto the same strategy as the rest of the guys.
Look, to be perfectly honest, if the scenario unfolds that these guys need to pit under, there's Josh Micklemore coming out of the pits, so he'll have fresh rubber. But if the rest of these guys have to pit under green and there's a safety car caution period, the best thing that Darren McKenzie can do for himself is drive straight back in the pits and get fresh rubber. He'll have a couple of laps up on the other guys as far as his tyre life's concerned, and a little bit more speed in the car, and he would have gotten the chance to do it under a pace car. So, there's all sorts of things that could happen with this.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'll tell you what, if this is any indication here, Jake Maloney did a 16-second stop, which was the same as Darren McKenzie. But we've got a car a bit loose up there in the back. Let's see if we can hang on to it. But what I was about to say is he pretty much passed him as Jake was coming out. Now, Jason's 4.4 seconds up the road. So it's going to be interesting when he stops to see if Darren can actually take anything to him if he's got the pace.
I'd love to know what's going on with Jason Martin's tyres. If he's not careful, he's going to steal away the Norman Clark's nickname, I think.
The magician, yeah. I don't know. I think I did hear rumours that he might be running Velcro out there tonight.
Sandman's gotten loose. I think he's gone sideways.
Yeah, we've just got that there. Well, let's jump back and have a look at that replay, and let's have a look and see what's happened. It's not surprising considering how far these guys have run. It's just coming up onto the back straight. Yeah, he's just got loose. Oh, I tell you what, and 52, that is Thomas Hines. Had nowhere to go, and Thomas has also got a lot of damage.
Yeah, that is unfortunate because Thomas was making big headway. He struggled with one good lap, or one average lap and one poor lap in qualifying after not getting a chance to run in the practice session. And I thought we might see him pull up through the field, which is what he was doing, but that damage now from that little incident is going to hurt him big time.
Yeah, he's bringing it down pit road now, and Stanman Clark's also brought his car in, and his car's not looking as bad as Hins, but Hins really clocked him in the side there, and he sort of bricked that beautiful Fanatics car.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when it happens, but that's plate racing, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly right. You've got to take the licks with the best of them, especially if you're an ice cream. There you go.
Yeah, the momentum in this race is just completely back and forward. Stephen Clark, who got himself up to, I think, second place and was just the mover in the field, he's back to 15th, actually 17th now in the pits with enough damage to really make a difference, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see, with no quick repair, whether that's going to be repairable to the point whereas it's going to still allow him to be some sort of competitive. But Matt Clowett has just been, well, passed by easily by Roger Clark. And I think that's Joshua Carroll Walden behind Matt Clowett, which puts Josh in 5th place.
Yeah, and check out the number 8, that's Darren McKenzie at the moment. Classified 1 lap down. He's about to get that lap back because he's now on the back of Jason Martin. And Jason's been the pace setter all night, and but Darren's got fresh tyres and he's starting to catch him.
Yeah, Jake's tyres will be 46 laps old by now, but at the same time, I think he's put about 10 or 12 hard laps in on those tyres himself, Darren McKenzie. So, but yeah, he's fighting to get that lap back. I think he will get through here, and if he can, that basically is going to put him on the lead, back on the lead lap now. All he's got to do is keep the foot down, keep going, get back around to the back of the field and pray for a pace car so he can pit, throw fresh rubber on it and do it all over again, but he'll be back on the lead lap if that happens.
Yeah, well, he's playing his cards right, isn't he? But if there is a pace car now, he can bring that car and get fresh tyres and go for it again. But at the moment, Jason Martin's tyres are cooked, I'd say. He's on the high line. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him coming in now as Thomas Hins in that badly damaged car also passed him.
Basically, that car of Thomas, that 52 car, like what aerodynamics? The thing looks like at the front of a Mack truck at the moment. It's just dead flat.
Well, Jason Martin's in a lot of trouble out here, I think, Steve. Have a look. He's been passed by a number of cars that are carrying a lot of damage here. And Sandman Clark's also got past him. He's just not keeping up with them. So I'm not sure what is going on, but he stays out.
Tyres. Yeah, just tyres, but I don't know why he hasn't pitted. I think he's been holding off, praying for a pace car period so that he can go in under the yellow. I don't think it's going to happen. Jason, the way he's driving and the way he's taken this track by the throat, he needs to pit now, green or not. Because what he's also got to realise is if he pits now and gets back out there, the way he's driving, he can get that lap back. He's still a contender, but if he continues to drive this way, he's just going to continue to fall further back, which is going to hurt him when he does pit.
Well, exactly right. And he goes through once again. He's staying out. He's hoping. But I tell you what, we only had the last pace car in lap 7. We're at the 50% mark now, lap 50. Looking at the cars that have pitted, just about all of them have, apart from Jason Martin in the 21, who's leading this race, Joshua Carroll Walden, Riley Curtis, Dave Douglas. And if you look at the lap time of Jason Martin, his laps now, his fastest was 31. He's in the 33.350. You then compare that to Darren McKenzie, who's on fairly used tyres. He did a 33.04.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, they're 2 to 3 seconds off their own pace. Forget what the other guys are running. Each driver is running 2 to 3 seconds off their own pace if they're still running on the original set of tyres. And all they're going to do is continue to struggle. I know what they're waiting for. I know they want a pace car period so they can pit under yellow. Really, yeah, they might want it stopped once, but to be honest, it's anybody's race now, honestly. Jake Maloney, second place from dead last. Fantastic drive from him. Jason Martin slowly falling back through the field. He must be desperate for fresh rubber, Bernie.
Yeah, I'd say he would. And James Foster in the chat room, he agrees with you. He thinks he is trying to do this as a one-stop race, and we'll see how that plays out. But at the moment, your top 10 is Jason Martin. He's still got a lead of 4.7 seconds over Jake Maloney. Roger Clark sitting in third, and Joshua Carroll Walden fourth, just behind Roger. Riley Curtis 4.8 seconds down the track in fifth, followed by the number 10 of Dave Douglas. Number 7 is Darren Lord. 8th, Josh Mickelmore. 9th, Darren McKenzie. Rounding out your top 10 is Danny G.
Oh, absolutely. And behind him, we've got Jake Blackhall in 11th, Stephen Williams in 12th, Matt Clowett back to 13th. Some of these guys may have pitted. I didn't see them go in, but looking at the positions. Norman Clark right behind him on 14th. And actually from 10th back, they are a lap down. Until you get to Daniel Stevens 15th, Stephen Clark back in 16th, and then Thomas Hens in 17th, then Craig Lawless in 18th is 8 laps down, and beyond that I think we're looking at some retirements, Bernie.
Yeah, and the car, or the lucky dog at the moment is Danny G, but as Jason Martin continues to lap these drivers, it could go against him. But just having a look now, what's going on here as a telemetry. Yeah, still Danny G. Next one up the track is the number 8 of Darren McKenzie.
Well, we've still got Jason Martin listed as leading this race, despite the fact that he's fallen back a few spots. So those guys were all a couple of laps down, and by passing Jason, I think they put himself back up a spot, back up a lap to being only 1 lap down. So he's done them a favour in that, but it's going to be interesting to see how he tackles the last 44 laps of this race. Jake Maloney doesn't look like he's pitted, but he's still out there and he's pushing hard, sitting in second place at the moment. And we've got Joshua Carroll Walden up to third, with Riley Curtis in fourth, and Dave Douglas, I'll put my teeth back in, he's rounding out the top 5 at the moment, and Darren Lord is off after him as well. And those guys are all on the lead lap.
Yeah, and we've had a few retirements here tonight. The latest one is Edward Foster in the number 53. It looks like that's just gone behind the wall. Shannon Mason also has retired the 55. Kai Sloggett, he has parked the number 9. And if Edward, he's in the chat room, so maybe he can let us know exactly what went on. Doesn't look like he's very happy, but once he calms down, he might just let us know what has happened to the number 53.
He won't be a happy little Vegemite at the moment. This just simply continues his bad run of being involved in other people's BS, to be honest. Edward's a great racer, but wrong place, wrong time. Johnny on the spot, an accident in front of him with nowhere to go, and it affected his race from that point on.
Yeah, well, that's right. That car was pretty badly beaten up, wasn't it? And we sort of said when it came into the pits that the pit crew were going to have a very long night, and maybe they've just decided it's too badly damaged to continue on.
And yeah, he's actually sent a message through. I think he's in the trailer and he's not very happy, and he's given himself some space, but he said, yeah, again.
Yeah, and he's as he was going to that trailer, he said it was the motor. So it looks like the motor's let go, but I wouldn't be surprised. You know, once you get all that damage on the front end, it's got to affect the temperatures of these cars, and the motors can only take so much, can't it?
Oh, exactly right. And we've got Jake Maloney going at it with Matt Clowett at the moment, but I believe Matt is a couple of laps down on Jake Maloney. I'm just trying to find him in the list there. Matthew Clowett, there he is, down a lap down in 11.
Yeah, so if we look at the leader, Jason Martin, at the moment, even though the other cars are getting past him, they're all a lap down anyway, but he's maintaining that gap of 5.6 seconds over the number 29 of Jake Maloney. Now, I've got Jake as pitting and a 16-second stop, so it'll be interesting to see if my telemetry's lying once again. But then back to Josh Carroll-Walden. Josh Carroll-Walden's about 7 seconds down the track from Jake Maloney, and then another 7 seconds down the track is Dave Douglas. So he's the last of the not pit stoppers. The first of the guys that have stopped is either Jake Maloney or the number 5 of Josh Mickelmore, and he's 22 seconds off the lead at the moment.
Yeah, just checking out Dave Douglas at the moment. He's running 33 sevens and 33 fives. So obviously those tyres, he's managing to get a lot more out of them. Once again, only wanting to do a one-stop strategy. And on lap 62, I think it might be timing. Oh, a big puff of smoke out of Phil Otto's car.
Yeah, that's another car we saw in the wall earlier, isn't it? And it looks like he might have just cooked his motor. Let's have a look at this. But
yeah, it looks terminal, Bernie.
Yeah, and again, all that damage he suffered earlier, they've tried to straighten it out, but yeah, it's just had enough, hasn't it? And it's,
looks that way, and I think Phil's pulled it off to the infield and is heading for the pits. That's his night done. And Stephen Sandman Clark, he's still circulating, he's still giving it a good go, but he's back in 15th and still 1 lap down. So, when Jason Martin pits, Jake Maloney has taken Jason Martin for the lead.
Wow, that's Jason Martin's pitted, that's why. I was going to say, where the heck's he come from? But where's Jason Martin? He's down here in 11th position. Yeah,
he's just come out of the pits now, Bernie, and Jason Martin's got fresh rubber on, so that's a bad sign for the rest of the field. Jake Maloney is pitting again. I thought you said he'd already pitted, but he's come in again, so we'll see how this works out. And as Jason Martin crosses the start-finish stripe to start another lap while Jake Maloney pit.
Yeah, and Joshua Carroll-Walden's followed him in, so they've tried to stay out as long as the leader. 37 laps to go, so they can pretty much get home from here, I'd say.
Yeah, they'll get home from here. They'll have the fuel, they'll have the tyres, and Jason Martin's already shown what he can do on one set of tyres for 60-something laps. So I expect he's going to be awful tough to beat, but Jake Maloney from the back of the field, dead last off the grid, has put himself in a position to at least get on the podium and challenge Jason Martin for victory here. So fantastic stuff coming with them both pitting a lap apart.
Yeah, Maloney's just coming out now. He had one of the slowest stops of the night, 18.9 seconds. The slowest stop goes to Dave Douglas, 19.1 seconds. But now that they've all pitted, let's go through your top 10 here, folks. So Josh Mickelmore, he's leading. He's got a gap of 5 seconds over Danny G in the number 24. In third position, we haven't seen much of him tonight. The 015 of Darren Lord, well, we haven't seen him at all tonight, but he's now bringing that in to take service, which will then bring Jake Blackhall up to third position. Darren McKenzie sitting in fourth in the 08, and then we've got Matthew Clowett in fifth behind him. Sitting in sixth at the moment is Jason Martin, and the gap for Jason from the lead is about 16 seconds. Then we've got Steve Williams in seventh. Eighth is Roger Clark. Well, he's ninth now, and Daniel Stevens rounds out our top 10.
Oh, yeah, fantastic stuff. From that point on, we've got Norman Clark in 11th, and I'm still listing Jake Maloney in 12th. That he's just recorded a 28-second lap. That can't be right. Something wrong with that. Riley Curtis in 13th. And Stephen Clark back in 14th. Thomas Hens in 15th. And according to this, those two front runners pitting has actually put several of the guys back on the lead lap because back as far as 15th are now all on the lead lap. Joshua Carroll Walden, who just pitted, and that's he's back out on track and he's jumped up to 13th. So Darren Lord is the first of the lap down drivers in 16th, swapping places with Dave Douglas. Then we've got Craig Lawless, 7 laps down and fighting on. Fantastic stuff. A lot of damage on the front of that car. The old Toyota Camry not looking very well at all. Phil Otto, who's retired, and Edward Foster, Shannon Mason and Kai Sloggett all retired early.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the 52 of Thomas Hens here. If you look at the front, that car's really beat up from that incident he was involved in, I think, with Sandman Clark on the outside of him. But looking at his lap times, he's lapping 33.392 was his last lap. The leader, Josh Micklemore's lapping 33.295. So even though his car is totally beat up, he's still not that far off the pace.
Yeah, it's strange for Josh Micklemore to be running those sort of lap times at this point. So I'm going to guess that there's some problem there. He may have a little bit of damage or perhaps pushed his tyres a little bit too hard to make up some spots. I'm not sure what the go is with that, but that's a strange lap time for somebody who's only got, 10 or 15 laps on those tyres.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what that looks like, folks, well, Josh Micklemore just blew past Thomas Hens there. Thomas is tucked up in his draft, though, and taking advantage of the slipstream while he's got it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, he's blasting past a couple of the guys, but if he's still running 33s, that's very strange. Okay, Sandman struggling a bit, but he's soldiering on. At the moment, Sandman is sitting 14th for those race fans that are trying to keep up with what's going on. Thomas Hens right behind him, literally on 15th, but Thomas is actually a lap down. Positionally is the same, and the positions have all just changed. Stephen Clark's just gone a lap down. Thomas Hens is a lap down. Dave Douglas a lap down. Darren McKenzie is a lap down. Darren Lord is a lap down. So Stephen Clark, the top contender for the lucky dog, if we get a pace car. With 73 laps down, only 27 laps remaining, it's unlikely that we'll get one. Some of the incidents we've seen here tonight that have not brought out the pace car and made everything yellow, I've got to believe there's very little chance that we're going to get a pace car. So these guys will likely run to the end the way they are, and anybody who needs to pit will do it under green, and that will hurt them.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you what, the battle for the lucky dog is between the 52 and the 96. Advantage goes to Hens, who's now taken Sandman, so he's in the lucky dog position. But Dave Douglas, he's coming fast on the outside. Look at him thread the needle outside of Sandman, then straight onto the inside of Hens. And that number 10, if that car can position itself like that, look out if it can get back on the lead lap.
Oh yeah, look, Dave Douglas is fighting hard, and that car looks fairly straight. I'm thinking that it may have suffered positionally in the race from having to pit under green, because he's just passed Josh Micklemore quite easily by the looks of it, Bernie.
Yeah, well, he's 5th fastest on the track at the moment. His last lap was 32.456. The fastest car, which I believe is a 08 of Darren McKenzie. His last lap, 31.995. He's the only one in the 13-1s, and just barely, it must be said.
Yeah, I don't know. Did Darren recently pit for rubber? I'm not sure. I had the same situation Monday night in the truck. I mean, with 90 laps green, we had to pit under green. And each time I pitted, I drove like a madman, and I had all the speed in the world. I was passing cars that were, a couple of laps up on me, cars that were leading the race. I just had speed to burn. But then, of course, driving like that, you sort of wear the tyres out. So I'm just wondering if Darren may be pitted recently, and that's why he's showing such a good turn of speed.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the replay here. Sandman lost it coming through the tri-oval. Tell you what, he almost took a leaf out of Days of Thunder here. If you have a look at this, folks, he just missed the pace car. So, tell you what, he had it all crossed up, nowhere to go, and he's just missed the pace car, the end of pit road here, but he did find the wall, unfortunately.
Well, that's probably poor aiming if his team boss told him to hit the pace car. But yeah so he gave it a shot. But yeah, look, that's sad to see for Stephen Clark. He fought hard early in this race, but through circumstance and a couple of little hits against the wall, it's just put that car in a position where it's just not as competitive as it was in the first 10 or 15 laps. So that's a shame. But look, he's going for the points. He's done well in this series so far, and the points are all important. It's a series, not a one-off event, Bernie, so they're all trying hard.
Yeah, that's right, and James Foster's enjoying the coverage there. He's just given us a tip and said, keep an eye on Jason Martin, he's coming, and his tip is he's going to have that lead shortly. That gap, 1.3 seconds as they come through onto the tri-oval. Now 21 laps remaining after this one, and we'll see what this gap is now as they cross. It's 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, just looking at the lap times, Jason Martin's lapping a second faster than Josh Mickelmore, and he's just made up quite a bit of space there in a short period of time. He'll be all over him. He'll be past him in the next half a lap or so. He's going to take him around the outside, and he'll probably won't get him yet, but on the next turn, going through 1 and 2, I expect Jason will really challenge, and there he goes now. There you go, on the straight. Coming into turns 1 and 2, Jason Martin back up into the lead of this race. Jake Maloney back in 5th place. I don't know what happened to him there, but he hasn't made up the spots since the pit stop. But Josh Mickelmore in 2nd place, and Danny G in 3rd place. Only 3 seconds off, or 3.9 seconds off the leader, Jason Martin.
Yeah, fantastic. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, folks, give us a thumbs up. It really helps us with our videos and trying to get them noticed by more people. If you don't like our video, just leave a comment and let us know how we can improve, because we're always after that sort of feedback. Big shout out also to George Gibbs. He's just woken up. Well, no, not really. He just got the notification, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure what time it is over there in the US of A, but as always, it's great to have you on board here with us, George.
Yeah, look, fantastic stuff. Guys watching this race, it's great to have you along. But if you are enjoying, yes, give us a thumbs up on the video, on the stream. And also subscribe to the channel. It's how things improve. Subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers, the better things get. Let us know what you like about it. And if there's anything you don't, yeah, as Bernie said, let us know about it. If you want me to shut the hell up, just type it in there. I've got no problem with that.
Okay, hang on. I just got to type it in.
Oh, okay. I see how it's going to work. No problem, Bernie. I've got a long memory, mate, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Martin still leading this race. We are on lap 84. Josh Mickelmore, 2nd place. Danny G in 3rd. Jake Maloney in 4th. Jake Blackhall in 5th. Way too many Josses and Jakes in this race. Matt Clowett in 6th, still fighting on. Roger Clark up to 7th place. I believe it was 18th position he started in. So up to 7th. Fantastic effort there from Roger. Joshua Carroll Walden in 8th, still maintaining a top 10 position. Not except for pit stops, I don't think he's been outside the top 10, Bernie.
Who's that, sorry?
Joshua Carroll Walden.
Yeah, you're right. He's had a really strong car, hasn't he? And he really put the stamp down on his qualifying lap. Very competitive indeed. So we just saw Roger Clark there get past Matt Clowett here, having a look at the suspension and how much load these cars have. And tell you what, they do work pretty hard, don't they?
Oh, the cars, yeah. Look, I wouldn't want to work that hard. I'd give up. But yeah, I mean, I drove a road race on the weekend. That was too much like hard work. Despite the way the suspension works on these cars, it's just astounding. But yeah, the last two cars that are rounding out the top 10 at the moment are Stephen Williams and Riley Curtis. He's making his presence felt in the top 10, and if he can maintain that for the next 15, 14 laps, he'll pick up a good bag of points tonight towards the championship run.
Yeah, it's a good run there by Riley, isn't it? And the other one is we're having a look at Joshua Carroll-Walden here. He's really starting to round these guys up. He's just got past Matt Clowett. He's already on the back of Roger Clark here, and he's moving that number 35 forward at a great rate. I'm just having a look as far as my telemetry goes, which means nothing. He's still on a one-stop strategy as now he rounds up Roger Clark, moves up to 6th position. Almost.
Yeah, and I've realised the mistake I made in reading my telemetry here. I thought it was saying that Jake Maloney had run a 28-second lap earlier, but it was actually a 28-second gap. So, yeah, I'm just not reading the telemetry right, Bernie. I'm going blind. So, Jason Martin continuing to, lead this race, and Josh Micklemore in second, Danny G third. Will that be the podium, Bernie? Will it change? What do you reckon?
At the moment, yeah, I can't see Jason losing this race. He's been, leading 69 laps, and we've got 13 laps to go, so I think so. But Joshua Carroll-Walden, he's not done yet. I don't think he'll get in the podium, but he might get blackballed by the end of it, indeed.
Well, yeah, there's what? I'm trying to read that now. That's like 5 seconds between Jake Maloney and Jake Blackhall, and it's just the gap's closing. It's now less than 4 seconds between Jake Blackhall and Joshua Carroll-Walden. So, looking at the way that gap's coming down, it's pretty easy to see that Josh Carroll-Walden is really pushing. He's got his mean face on, and Jake Blackhall in his sights.
Yeah, he's definitely moving forward there, and we'll see how they go anyway. I'm starting to get tired here. And, what's the time? Must be past my bedtime.
Another coffee, Bernie. You'll be right, mate. We've still got some racing. This is huge. It's fantastic stuff. We've got some great racing here. With Jason Martin still leading as he has done for most of the race.
Sorry.
We've got something happening, have we?
Dave Douglas decided he was going to go and mow the lawn, and he's re-entered the track just as Jason Martin's coming around. But he's got air under this car. We're just having a look at this replay, and I was a bit worried he's going to take out the leader.
Yeah, it might have been a bit of a dirty overalls moment for Jason Martin.
Yeah, definitely. A bit of a shout out also to Mr. Boxy, who's enjoying our cast. He says his boys in the RCD Motorsports and doing a good job. So that's fantastic. I'm glad you're enjoying our telecast here. Trying to work out who his son is, though.
Tim Dawes. Is that Mr. Boxy, is it?
That's right, yeah.
G'day, Tim. How are you? Had an up and down race the other night, mate, but the highlights package will show you all that. Look, that was a fantastic bit of driving from Dave Douglas then, I've got to say. I mean, in most instances, you would have seen that car that came across the grass like that, spear across the track into the path of the oncoming vehicles or even into the outside wall. By the time Dave Douglas got to the white line, he had it under control, and that was as far up the track as he went. So fantastic stuff. Great driving from Dave Douglas.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'll tell you what, I reckon Jason Martin took a deep breath there as well. As we can see now, Dave Douglas working on the back of Darren McKenzie. But with 7 laps to go in this race, folks, your top 3 are Jason Martin. He's leading Josh Micklemore by 5.9 seconds. And then Josh Micklemore has a gap of 2.6 seconds over Jake Maloney. Looking at these lap times, Jake Maloney is coming. He's 33.2 seconds last lap. He took 4 tenths out of Josh Micklemore, but it's not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough for the lead because we've got 7 laps left, but Jake Maloney is now on the podium because he's in front of Danny G.
That's right. He's just taken Danny G, but I think that's as far up as he's going to get. That gap, I'm predicting, is too much for him to pick up Josh Micklemore at this point.
2.5 seconds in 5 laps? Yeah, it might be a bit of an R.
Yeah. So do you want to ask my prediction? I'm going to predict the trifecta now.
Oh, you're going to go with the prediction with less than 5 laps remaining.
That's right. I was going to wait till the last lap, but I figured you would call foul, so I figured 5 laps out. That's fair play.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Jason Martin, he's my number 1 prediction. I said at the start of the telecast, watch the 21. He's going to take the win. If you remember, old man, that's what I said. Josh Micklemore, I said, would come in second. That was before the telecast started. And Jake Maloney, I predicted, would take the 3rd position.
I can't remember the Jake Maloney prediction, to be perfectly honest. But what I do remember is I said he would finish in top 5, and he's proven me right. But this is just a fantastic drive from Jake Maloney. I mean, he actually led this race for a while with the tyre troubles that Jason Martin had. All 3 of these guys at the front, fantastic. But I'm impressed by Thomas Hins. I mean, he's back in the field, he's a lap down, and he's tagging just about on the back of the number 29 car for Jake Maloney with all that damage.
Yeah, he started in 15th tonight, and he's got all that damage. He's now sitting in 14th, so, he's had all up a very strong race tonight that he should be very pleased with, because getting a car to perform that well with that much damage around here is, a testament to his driving tonight.
I'm hoping I'm seeing things, but I'm seeing a bit of a wobble in the number 29 car coming into that turn 3 and 4. I hope I'm wrong, because it would be a shame to see anything happen to Jake Maloney at this point after such an incredible drive.
Yeah, biggest mover, undoubtedly the drive of the night here, as he just gets 2 wheels down across the apron there once again, getting it sliding, pulls it up, and you're right. I think that car and the tyres are pretty much saying enough's enough.
He'll be praying for that white flag, I can tell you. Lap 99, and he would be just about seeing that white flag. He'll be happy about that. But he'd be more desperate for fresh rubber than a co-ed on prom night, I think.
Well, I tell you what, we're on the last lap now. I'm just having a look at the 21. He's got the number 8 next to him. It says the last lap. What are they doing? The number 8 is slowing, so I'm not sure. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to get home. He should have. But the number 21 is going to take the win tonight here at Atlanta for round 3 of the ANZCAR Xfinity Series. Goes to the number 21 of Jason Martin. He's led 81 laps of this race tonight.
Incredible performance again from Jason Martin. I mean, is it my memory playing tricks, or did he lead every lap of last week's race?
Yeah, pretty much. He's so strong. And I tell you what, check this out. Darren McKenzie's out of fuel. He has to be out of fuel. I think he's linked it across the line, but it almost was a lap too far. Is that a movie? No, that's a bridge too far. Close enough.
It's close enough, yeah. It's a big cast, and close enough for the analogy, I think, there, Bernie. So the guys will now pull him into the pits, and fantastic stuff. What racing. And Danny G's held on for 4th place behind Jake Maloney, who couldn't quite run down Josh Micklemore in 2nd, and Jason Martin taking the win, leading so many laps of this race.
Yeah, we can see Jason Martin now celebrating after he's taken the checkered flag here at Atlanta. And, of course, the tradition is donuts. And we've got a very high view here, so he can't hide behind all that smoke.
No, he's putting on a good display. He usually does that. So, in fact, the first round he did a hell of a burnout. Second round, I think, was pretty much the same. So he's going to flog what's left of those tyres, and he'll be up for a new engine for the next round, I'd say, by the look of that.
I'd say you're right, but the engine's done its job tonight, and it's carried him to a win, and a good run by him as well. If we're looking at the amount of laps, he led 82 of these laps tonight. Second place, Josh Mickelmore, he led the other 16, and third place, the number 29 of Jake Maloney, he led the other 2. So the podium pretty much got a little bit greedy tonight and pretty much hogged all the laps to themselves.
Look, I think that in itself is an indication why we've got those 3 guys on the podium tonight, to be honest. Jake Maloney, Josh Mickelmore and Jason Martin, between the 3 of them, led every lap of this race. Nobody got a look in. So, yeah, that's why those 3 cars are on the podium, Bernie.
Yeah, that's right. They were all strong. But Jake Maloney, we're going to bring up the results now. He has to get drive of the night because he's come from dead plumb last up to third. And let's have a look at the final results here, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver finished. But Jason Martin takes the win here at Atlanta Speedway, and followed by Josh Mickelmore in second. Jake Maloney, check that out, up 18 positions from where he started, and he gets that number 29 on the last step of the podium. Danny G just misses out on the podium, but another strong run there for the 24, and then Jake Blackhall in the 97 finishes in fifth. Joshua Carroll Walden, he had an awesome drive tonight and finished in sixth position. Roger Clark up 11 positions to come home in seventh. Stephen Williams in the 98 comes home in ninth. Riley Curtis in the 93 finishes in ninth, and he is followed by the 54 of Matt Clowett. Home in 11th tonight was the number 10 of Dave Douglas. I think he gets a Dukes of Hazzard award, and rounding out your top 12 is Norman Clark.
Looks fantastic stuff. Great racing all round. The whole field just tried hard. Unfortunate about those 4 or 5 guys at the bottom there that retired early. Unfortunate for Craig Lawless to be 9 laps down, pardon me. Here's a tip, folks. Don't have a gassy drink while you're doing a commentary. Stephen Clark ended up 3 laps down after fighting so hard tonight. So, yeah, look, that fantastic stuff from everybody out there. There was some great racing right through the field, Bernie.
Yeah, there certainly was. And looking further down the field, Thomas Hinz, he got home in 13th, up 2 from where he started. A really good recovery drive considering he had that big incident with Stephen Clark earlier on tonight. Darren Lord gets a 0-1-5 home in 14th. 15th was Darren McKenzie, and he was off strategy most of the night and remained that way. Daniel Stevens, 16th, and the car is 16. Stephen Sandman Clark brings a 96 home in 17th. Craig Lawless home in 18th in the 444. Had a pretty rough night in the 444 tonight, but he circulated. Phil Otto blow an engine out of the race, and so did Edward Foster in the 53. That engine gave up the ghost as well. Shannon Mason retired and classified in 21st. 22nd, Kai Sloggett, he also retired.
Yeah, fairly early too. I hadn't noticed. He went out on about lap 4 or 5, so... yeah, that's really unfortunate for Kai because he actually had a pretty good starting position. So he obviously practiced okay and qualified pretty good. But to go out on lap 4, that's a real shame for him.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, there was a few like that, wasn't there? A few bad news stories and bad luck, but it's pretty much racing though, isn't it?
Well, you want to hear Twilight Zone stuff, Bernie?
Do I really want to hear Twilight Zone stuff? Yeah, okay, hit me with it.
Monday night in the trucks, incident on lap 7. Came back green on lap 10 and ran 90 laps to the end. Thursday night in the Xfinity cars, incident on lap 7, go green on lap 10 and run 90 laps.
Yep. Well, that's a coincidence, isn't it?
That is very weird. Not even like the same 1-car period on the same lap, going green on the same lap and running 90 laps green. That's just crazy. That's too much of a coincidence for me.
It certainly is. And, of course, give a plug to Camera Pack is courtesy of Track Cams for Gourmets, and you can buy that pack at trackcams22.com. Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd be saying that was rigged But we don't bet money on iRacing, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think the last thing any of the guys out there tonight were going to do was rig a race to actually finish that way. Run 90 laps after a lap on after an incident on lap 7, which took out a couple of those guys who didn't finish, so or caused an incident. Caused damage that eventually led to them having to retire. But look, will we get a similar situation next week where the trucks and the Xfinity series both go to Vegas? Fantastic track. I love Vegas. But turn 4 again is the one that can bite. If your tyres are not right, turn 4 will let you know about it, because just when you think you've got the line onto the front straight, bugger, there's a wall.
I'm a bit worried about next week. The reason I'm a bit worried is I don't know if there'll be a commentary, because if we go to Vegas, I think you and me might hit the casinos and they're not going to see us at the track.
That's fine. Just start the stream before we go to the casino, and then we can watch it on TV in the casino and commentate from the roulette table. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we could do that. Okay, we'll give that a go. Speaking of the wheel, should we bring some people up for a bit of a chat?
Was just going to say the same thing, Bernie.
Yeah, let's bring up Jake Maloney. We'll start from third, go up to first. So bring him in, and you can have a bit of a chat with him if you want.
Good evening, Jake Maloney. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Mate, incredible drive. Fantastic stuff. Starting dead last in the field and up to third by the end. And, I mean, you'd led a couple of laps there along the way. So, yeah, look, give us your thoughts on the way the night went.
It went pretty well. I jumped into the server last minute. I did a few corners in practice, but didn't set a full lap in the car until race start. So yeah, it was just learning my way for that first little bit, and just moved forward once the tyres got old, and really had a lot of fun with that one. It's quite good when they stay green like that.
Oh, yeah, look, 90 laps under green, it's just fantastic stuff, and you guys really turned it on. The whole field did tonight, but that effort at the front there, yourself, Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore. Unfortunately, Sandman was right there at the front, but got the damage, and that affected his night. But Danny G up in looking like a podium there with only about 7 laps to go. Just fantastic racing. And honourable mention to Danny G. Fantastic drive to him as well. You had a bit of a battle with him there for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't sure that last little bit. I was gaining on everyone quite quickly, but the tyres were starting to equalise, so I wasn't sure whether I'd get past Daniel or Josh. I got past Daniel and just didn't quite have enough for Josh in the end. Yeah,
there was a bit under 2.5 seconds between yourself and Josh with about 5 laps to go, and it was looking like that was going to be an unobtainable gap, but then all of a sudden with about 2 laps to go, we started to see a bit of a wobble in the car, so obviously the tyres went off. Did it feel that way?
Oh yeah, definitely. They went off quite a big amount, really just sliding it around. Those last few laps just trying everything, but before that the key was, it's just you got to be careful on the throttle, try not to overheat the tyres.
Well, after the drive of the night, mate, that's a really good haul of points for the championship, getting on the podium. And look, the driving standard out there tonight, it obviously was pretty good because it allowed you to be able to do what you did tonight. So the other drivers, everybody seemed to play the game tonight, did they?
Oh, yeah, I didn't have any problems with anyone. Everyone was racing well, fair. It shows when you have 90 laps screen.
Well, that's right, yeah. There was a couple of incidents along the way, exactly the same with Monday night, but the pace car just didn't come out. We didn't go to yellow, so it allowed the racing to continue, but it made it very interesting who was playing what strategy game, especially with Jason Martin waiting until about lap 64 or something before he pit for tyres. So you would have been probably relieved to see him go in, but about 2 or 3 laps later, I think you went in yourself again for another set, didn't you?
Yeah, I just thought I'd stay out as long as possible, hope for a bit of a caution. If a caution came out there in those few laps where I stayed out, it would have been quite good. I would have ended up in front, but didn't quite happen. And yeah, but then obviously staying out the longest, you have a big tyre advantage over everyone, and we're able to chase them down.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to while you've got the chance, mate? Your sponsors or anybody?
No, not particularly. Don't really have anyone on this car, but I'll give a thanks to Hyperstimulator and the TTL Driver Academy for coming on our Scops cars, which were released just earlier today.
Oh, well, no worries. And I'm pretty sure your dog will be upset you didn't get a shout out, but that's okay. All right, mate. Look, fantastic drive. Congratulations on the finish. Just incredible stuff. It was fantastic to watch. And that 90 laps green made that go very, very quickly. So see what you can do at Vegas next week, eh?
Yeah, that's one of my favourite 1.5 tracks, so I'll be looking forward to that. Thanks, guys.
There's a few people out there that wish you hadn't said that. No worries, mate. You have a good one, and we'll catch up with you next week at Las Vegas.
Yep, thanks, guys. Thanks for broadcast.
All right, Bernie. We're going to get Mr. Micklemore up here, are we?
Yeah, I think we'll go and grab Mr. Micklemore and bring him up for a bit of a chat.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, look, to all the guys in the live chat tonight, fantastic stuff. Great input and interaction, and great to have you there, and thanks very much for that too. So just letting you know we haven't forgotten you there. Josh Micklemore, how are you?
Hey, fellas, good. Yourselves?
Not bad, mate. You'd be feeling pretty good about all that. Managed to actually bring it home in second place between the Jason and Jake sandwich.
Yeah, I was a bit worried because I almost ran out of fuel, actually. But no, it was good finish there.
Fantastic race, mate. Great drive. Up and down a little bit, but always at the pointy end. How did you find the tyre wear tonight?
Around Atlanta, the tyres always wear out pretty quick. I found in Cup car or this car, so I knew it was going to be a bit of a handle at the end, but no, we got there in the end, so it's good fun.
Yeah, no, fantastic finish, and that's going to tighten things up at the pointy end for the championship. Obviously, Jason's taken 2 wins in a row now, so or 3 actually, I believe. But it's going to make it tough. But with you and Jake and a couple of the other guys picking up a good haul of points tonight, a good showing at Las Vegas will certainly narrow the gap and maybe even turn things around.
Yeah, that's it. Las Vegas is another good track. It's pretty good to me, so hopefully have a good showing there as well.
Look, fantastic. Great drive, mate. A good start and a good solid drive to stay in that top group there at the front, like I said, at the pointy end of the field. So is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just ANZCAR for putting on the league. It's getting better and better, I reckon, so that's good. And you guys putting on the broadcast do a good job, so yeah. Yeah,
no, it's a fantastic league, and I think the level of competition in this series is just fantastic stuff because with the drivers who take part in the series, and I think it shows with long green periods and stuff like that. It shows the talent out there, especially when you see battles like we saw tonight. So, second place, congratulations, Josh Micklemore. Well, it'll be interesting to see how you go in the points after this round, but it should be a fairly good situation for you leading into Las Vegas. So congratulations, and thanks very much for tonight. Great racing.
No worries, Steve. Thanks, Bernie, as well.
Fantastic. That was Josh Micklemore. He came home second tonight, up 2 positions from where he started, but the man of the hour is the number 21 of Jason Martin, and we'll bring him in for a chat. 82 laps this man led.
Oh, incredible. He's slipping. You're there, Jason.
Yeah, mate, I'm here.
I've gone to sleep. Sorry.
My first question, are you not well tonight?
Why is that?
Well, you only led 82 laps, mate. I mean, it's a bit of a step down from last week.
Yeah, I probably should have stayed out longer on that first stop.
Yeah, I'm just being a little bit cynical there because you took until something like lap 64 or something before you pitted for tyres, and I just couldn't believe that you managed to stay out that long.
Yeah, I noticed I was doing 33.4s pretty consistently, so I thought might as well stay out a bit longer.
Yeah, no worries. Look, you did the job and you got there. First place again. Against some pretty stiff competition tonight. They seem to get you towards the later stages of the race tonight. Just strategies and stuff, I think, played a hand in that. The tyre where you seem to get a lot more life out of your tyres than most of the other guys did. Some guys pitted fairly early for tyres and did 2 or 3 stops. Was your plan to actually have 1 stop?
Yeah, I didn't really have a plan going in. I hadn't done any more than about 10 laps in a row, so I had no idea how long the tyres would last.
Well, I can tell you now it was something like 64 or 66 laps, obviously. So, yeah, look, great drive, mate. Bernie, you got any questions for our winner?
No, I think you've asked them all. I was going to ask if he was feeling sick, but you took that joke off me. But no, congratulations, Jason. That was an awesome drive. That's the only comment I wanted to make. But yeah, it was a pretty dominant performance, mate.
Yeah, thanks. I probably should have stayed out about 5 or 7 laps longer so that no one else could lead a lap.
Yeah, I think your tyres were probably dropping off a little bit down. We could see it was affecting your lap times. We just weren't sure whether you lifted to save the tyres for a bit longer and keep the car in one piece, or whether you had a target lap that you wanted to pit on, or we just weren't really sure about that. But you've answered that question for us. So considering you haven't done more than 10 laps in a row, you pulled 60-something tonight on 1 set of tyres, and that's a fairly big achievement. But you had some pretty good company there at the end. Jake Maloney went from dead last on the grid to 3rd place. And Josh Micklemore, certainly you would have known he was there and chasing you down.
Yeah, I noticed Jake was on the same strategy as me, and I noticed he was only about 4 or 5 seconds behind, and he was keeping that same distance. I just couldn't increase it. So he was doing real well.
Yeah, no, fantastic drive from, well, just about everybody in the field tonight at different levels and different ways, different lap strategies. Surprisingly, the people who finished a lap down tonight, but with a 90-lap green period, it's probably to be expected. Is there anybody you want to give a shout-out to before you go?
Just got to thank RRTV for the broadcast and ANZCAR for putting on the series.
No worries at all. You're welcome. There's a lot of work goes in, and the series has come together perfectly as far as it appears. It was planned a certain way, and I think it was the right decision and the right strategy to run the series because the racing is just top-notch, fantastic quality stuff. So, yeah, look, fantastic race again. Congratulations on the win. Another great burnout at the end, and we look forward to seeing what you can pull out of the hat for Vegas next week.
Vegas, is it? Yeah, that should be a real close race, that one. I don't think anyone will dominate that.
Yeah, the other 2 on the podium are looking forward to it. So just a bit of a heads up there. Jake Maloney loves the place, and Josh Micklemore's looking forward to it. So it'll be really interesting, and it's going to provide some great racing there. So looking forward to it big time, mate. Enjoy your week and with whatever you're doing, and we look forward to seeing you on track again next week. Jason Martin, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
So, Bernie, that's another one wrapped up.
Yeah, mate, and just another shout-out to the track cams for gourmets people for allowing us to use their track cams tonight. You can go to trackcams22.com if you want to buy this pack. But, yeah, another race wrapped up here, mate. That was an awesome race. That really was a top-notch race.
Oh, yeah, look, great stuff. I mean, it's one of those races that you don't want a highlights package because there would be so much that you miss out on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's right. It was just great racing and a lot of strategy, a lot of good saves by a lot of drivers. That Dave Douglas's save was a big one. We saw quite a few more saves throughout the night. I think Roger Clark had a close call. Had disappointments, but that all adds into the drama of the night.
Well, it does. And it's going to be interesting to see how the series unfolds now. The Sandman had a fantastic start to the race, and the first 20 or 30 laps was very kind to him. But then as the night went on, a little bit of damage bouncing off the wall a couple of times certainly had a major impact on how he finished the race. I believe he finished in 17th, 3 laps down. So unfortunate considering the way he qualified and the way he started the race. And he was very, very strong in the early stages there, Bernie. But so were so many other guys who just fell victim to this track as the race wore on. So it'll be interesting to see how things turn around at Vegas. Another slightly different track, not majorly in the way that the last 2 tracks differed from round 1 at Daytona. But certainly we're going to see some differences in the way people run at the Vegas Speedway. So it should be a very entertaining round again.
Certainly will, and I'm interested to see how the points turn out after this race, because coming in, Stephen Sandman Clark was leading on 82 points. He finished 17th, so he's going to slide backwards. Second was Jake Blackhall, so we'll see where he winds up. But Jason Martin down there in 5th, he's been marching forward, and once again, he's going to be moving up. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how many points he'll get, but he's 12 behind the leader at the moment.
Well, Jake Blackhall finished 5th tonight behind Danny G. So sitting second, it's going to be interesting to see how the points work out with Jason taking another win and Josh and Jake right behind him on the podium. It's going to be very interesting to see how that actually works out points-wise. But I think Jake should do pretty well out of that, finishing 5th and coming into this round sitting second. Matt Clowett, who coming into this round 3rd position in the championship, who finished in 10th. So still a decent finish for him in the top 10. Wow, I can't wait to see how the points work out coming into the round next week at Vegas. Going to be great stuff, Bernie. What a fantastic series this is, organised by ANZCAR, and just fantastic stuff. Watching this on RRTV. Must be great. I'll sit and watch the stream so that I don't have to sit and actually talk through it. I can actually watch what's going on.
Yeah, fantastic. But also, folks, if you missed our earlier broadcast tonight, this was the second broadcast of our double header tonight. Earlier on tonight, we had the dirtdivision.com.au search for Team Australia Sprint Car Championship. I'm not going to tell you who won. They were racing for prize money. Awesome race. Go and check that out. But I tell you what, Steve, my travels continue to go forwards. Tomorrow night, we've got the Porsche Carrera Cup coming on RRTV. Off to Road Atlanta for round 4 of that, the first of their Enduros. It's 1 hour length, and that will be on iRacing Live if you're joining us from there, or on our YouTube channel. Just have a look at upcoming broadcasts. Then on Saturday night, I'm up to Canada, I think it is, to go for the iRacing Racing League's Oceanic GT3 Sprint Series, going to circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And then I think I'm off to Texas on Sunday night for the Australasian Super Skips, going to Circuit of the Americas. And that'll round out my travel arrangements for this week.
Oh, so you're going to go from Moose to Buffalo or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so. And then next week we go to Vegas. What do we have there?
Casinos.
Casinos, fair enough. But
that's pretty much it. Lots of desert and lots of casinos. So, but we're going to be centred on Las Vegas Speedway because we're going to have some fantastic racing and some great stuff coming up on RRTV in this coming week. So, look, fantastic stuff. The truck highlights to start give you an indication of what things are like in that series as well. So, can't wait for next week. I'm looking forward to Monday to race at Vegas in the truck. And next Thursday, watching these guys go around again in the Xfinity cars. Wow, fantastic stuff. So thank you, Bernie. I'm about done. I'm ready to actually get to bed at a decent hour tonight because of all the green lap racing.
Yeah, well, a big thanks to you, mate, because you're under the weather, aren't you? A bit croaky earlier tonight. I think you've had your happy pills or whatever it is to keep you going tonight and help call this race, which was absolutely awesome of you, mate.
No, I'm actually fit and well. I'm just a worn-out old fart. That's the problem.
Well, you fit in pretty well in this comm booth then, but also a big shout out to all the people that joined us in the chat channel. You make these broadcasts what they are. We really appreciate you taking the time not only to join us, but to contribute and add to this broadcast. A lot of the information you guys feed us actually does get put on the broadcast, and we really appreciate everything you guys do. So thank you for everyone that tuned in tonight. That pretty much ends our broadcast tonight, folks. So on behalf of Steve Hoppett, I'm Bernie Weemers. Have a great Thursday night, Friday tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see you for the Porsche Carrera Cup, but if we don't, have a fantastic weekend. Good night.